Canada just witnessed a major political shakeup. In a move that few saw coming, the Governor General has replaced Mark Carney with Pierre Poilievre as the new Prime Minister. This isn't just a routine leadership change, it's a complete reset at the top of Canadian politics. This shift didn't happen overnight. Carney's claim of holding a majority was always on shaky ground. His 170-seat count quickly started to unravel after judicial recounts, voter backlash, and concerns over irregularities in some ridings. His support, especially in rural Alberta and other key regions, declined sharply. What began as a narrow win turned into a fragile hold on power. As confidence in his leadership continued to fall, the situation reached a tipping point. The Governor General, acting within her constitutional authority, stepped in. Seeing that the minority government had lost the support of both Parliament and the public, she made a decisive call. It was time for change. Her message was clear: Canada needed stability. With the Liberal Party losing ground and opposition parties preparing to take action, Carney no longer had the mandate to govern. That's when the new era began. Pierre Poilievre, who had been steadily gaining momentum, was officially appointed Prime Minister. With this decision, the country entered a new chapter, one that promises a very different approach to leadership and policy. Let's take a closer look at how it all unfolded. So, how did Mark Carney respond to the crisis? In short, he didn't. As political support crumbled around him, he seemed paralyzed, locked away in his office, buried in economic reports and technical jargon. While he focused on carbon credits and inflation models, his own team began to distance themselves. According to reports, he even attempted to organize a final press conference but couldn't find a single staff member to draft a speech. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre was gaining momentum not from a downtown office, but from a hockey arena in Red Deer, surrounded by working-class Canadians, farmers, mechanics, truckers, and young families struggling with the cost of living. His message was clear and direct: give me the mandate, and I'll give you back your country. This wasn't just a routine political handoff, it was a complete shift in direction. Many Canadians had grown tired of Carney's leadership. His background and polished image never seemed to translate into real connection with everyday people. While he spoke about high-level policy, citizens wanted answers about rising grocery bills, housing costs, and day-to-day challenges. Carney often delivered prepared speeches that felt distant and technical, and over time, his lack of relatability became a serious liability. Even his own party began to question his ability to lead. One MP left, then another, followed by a third. Quiet frustrations turned into open dissent, and even longtime Liberals began to speak out behind closed doors. What followed wasn't just a political defeat, it was a clear sign that Canadians were ready for a different kind of leadership. And Poilievre, with his practical tone and populist message, was standing by ready to step in. Some had begun calling Mark Carney Captain Titanic, all charts, no lifeboats. And when the Governor General held a private meeting, eyebrows were raised. Shortly after, with the quiet but symbolic withdrawal of Bill C-2, it was clear his time in office was over. In a statement that quickly spread across the country, the Governor General announced, effective immediately, Mark Carney is no longer fit to lead this country. In consultation with constitutional experts and with the confidence of Parliament, I'm appointing Pierre Poilievre as Prime Minister to restore stability, clarity, and leadership. The swearing-in ceremony was a national moment. The anthem played proudly, veterans stood tall, flags waved across the country. Even the weather seemed to shift, as if reflecting the mood of a public ready for change. Poilievre stepped up not with arrogance, but with a clear sense of purpose. Today, he said, we begin a new chapter not written by global institutions, but by everyday Canadians. From Alberta's oil fields to the fisheries of Nova Scotia, this country is yours again. That message resonated and fast. On Bay Street, the markets were shaken. The World Economic Forum offered no comment. Even the CBC seemed uncertain about how to cover the event. Behind the scenes, Carney's closest allies were reportedly meeting to discuss whether Chrystia Freeland could return to leadership. But out in the streets, the response was clear. Canadians were celebrating from Calgary to Thunder Bay, and even parts of Quebec's spontaneous gatherings broke out. And yes, support for Poilievre is growing even in Quebec. Why? Because while Carney spoke in economic theory, Poilievre offered practical solutions, fix the roads, respect local voices, and put everyday concerns first. Let's return to Parliament Hill, where Mark Carney attempted to deliver a farewell speech. It was an uneasy moment, his voice unsteady, his hands trembling slightly. Canada needs responsible fiscal stewardship, he said. But just as he spoke those words, the microphone failed. The symbolism was hard to ignore. The applause was minimal, and the atmosphere quiet, some even visibly uninterested. Carney is now reportedly heading to Zurich, where he'll attend a global finance conference and reflect on his time in politics. There, he's expected to speak about the challenges of modern democracy and may even launch a new podcast on his experience. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Pierre Poilievre has wasted no time. His first actions in office included ordering a full audit of Elections Canada, pausing legislation related to digital censorship, reopening discussions on a national energy corridor, and reviewing the carbon tax. Notably, he arrived at his swearing-in ceremony by public bus accompanied by everyday commuters, not in a limousine. On the other side of the aisle, the Liberal Party appears to be in disarray. With no clear leadership and growing uncertainty over policy direction, some MPs seem unsure of the road ahead. One was even seen flipping through how to win friends and influence people. Another reportedly joked about joining a rival party. But here's what really matters. Canadians are beginning to feel heard again. Not managed, not marketed to, but truly seen. The Trudeau-Carney era marked by top-down messaging and technocratic language has come to a close. Canadians are asking for practical solutions, not theories. Jobs, infrastructure, and responsible leadership, not buzzwords or performance. This isn't about instant transformation. Real change takes time, but it has begun one step at a time, one household at a time. What we're seeing is not flashy or dramatic. It's quiet confidence being restored across the country. As for Mark Carney, history will likely view his time in politics as a case study in misalignment between message and moment, between expertise and connection. He brought credentials, but what Canadians needed was clarity and empathy. Pierre Poilievre, on the other hand, brought focus, resilience, and a grounded message that resonated with people who felt overlooked. This wasn't just a political transition, it was a return to real-world leadership. And if Carney ever wonders why his path to the Prime Minister's office came to an end, he won't find the answer in a spreadsheet. He'll find it in the voices of millions of Canadians who were ready for change and finally got it. The political freeze has passed. A new season has begun.